So when you hear Patois, how much tree is in Patois?
Yes.
Like how much do you hear African dialect in the Patois?
I would say on the tonation and the accent and style, it's 100%. Yo, I'm gonna wonder that there, you know. Yes, I didn't know I'm some poe, Brian alive, eh? That's street. That's Patois. Where you go? Yo, who going?
Right.
Sound the same to me.
And then we have some of the specific lyrics and the words meaning the same things in Jamaica. And definitely the Ghanaian roots in Jamaica is very strong.
Very strong.
You hear, you know, the Taki Falls. The Taki Falls is actually Techi Falls, which is because the chief of the Maroons once upon a time is what? Kojo. But we say Kojo, you know.
So when you hear Patois, how much tree is in Patois?
Yes.
Like how much do you hear African dialect in the Patois?
I would say on the tonation and the accent and style, it's 100%. Yo, I'm gonna wonder that there, you know. Yes, I didn't know I'm some poe, Brian alive, eh? That's street. That's Patois. Where you go? Yo, who going?
Right.
Sound the same to me.
And then we have some of the specific lyrics and the words meaning the same things in Jamaica. And definitely the Ghanaian roots in Jamaica is very strong.
Very strong.
You hear, you know, the Taki Falls. The Taki Falls is actually Techi Falls, which is because the chief of the Maroons once upon a time is what? Kojo. But we say Kojo, you know.
So when you hear Patois, how much?
All right, that was cool. Trigger Happy in the chat says, man, I can't believe they got mad at this man for saying reggae is African music. He basically affirming that Jamaicans are Africans and is an African country. Yeah, I saw that. I was real disappointed in that. In fact, I saw some FBA types on Twitter, I think it was today or yesterday, who, you know, they're trying to make this point of, you know, Afro beats, you know, copied James Brown, for example. Not realizing that, well, James Brown, that music that he's doing is an evolution from African beats, syncopation. And what they're not realizing is that there's a back and forth that goes on. Yeah, the continent inspires what they're doing, and they in turn will go back and inspire the continent and areas in between. Like reggae, ska music, which precedes reggae music, comes from what was going down in New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like they were getting, sometimes on a clear day, they got radio from New Orleans, and they were kind of mimicking that sound, and they did their version of it. So it always kind of plays back. You know what I mean? It always kind of plays back, and a lot of our people don't get it. A lot of our people think it's just this thing that this group of people did, and not realizing that, yeah, you got it from the source, and you went back, and because you had the influence, you went back and you influenced the source. So this is why you hear, you know, and I hear Jamaicans complain about the Afro beats taking over and replacing reggae and stuff like that. Yo, go do the music. Go and do the music. It's the same music, essentially. Go and do it. You know, but anyway, let me get off my soapbox because music is my thing. You know, go and do it too. Your Beanie Man, your Bounty. I think Bounty was the one who was complaining a little bit. Go and feature on those guys, and I'm sure them guys will love to have you on that music. Go and feature. Go make some of that shit yourself. You know. But anyway, Razuli, what are your thoughts? Are there Africanisms in Patois?
I don't know. Maybe there's Africanism and the syntax, the way they talk or whatever, if that's what it means. So with the Haitian culture, it's like Creole. Creole to me is similar words to Patois, to be honest. So it's like saying, does African language have any similar contribute to the Haitian way of talking or whatever? Yeah, because I even see similarities between the Haitian proverbs and Jamaican proverbs and Bahamian proverbs and Trinidadian proverbs. Like they say the same thing. Like there's like a saying talk about rocks in the water should not curse out rocks in the sun or something like that. Meaning that I forgot what was the proverb. But and what I'm trying to say is that the African way of talking, of course, influence is the Haitian language and patois. I guess patois. They want. I mean, to me, I think it's totally disrespectful to call Jamaican English patois or to call. I don't even call my language Creole anymore because to me, I think it's disrespectful to do that. So, yes, I believe because I think there's a
What do you prefer to call it, by the way? Just
I'm-
Haitian?
from now on, I'm gonna say I speak Haitian, or I've been trying to do that. I don't speak Creole because the definition of Creole means when you look at the etymology of the word, it means a French person born in the Caribbean.
Right.
So that's why they would say like a Creole pig, a Creole horse. But people are so caught up. Oh, I speak Creole. To me, I think that's very disrespectful. I even so think it's disrespectful to say I speak for Jamaican people to say they speak patois. Say you speak Jamaican. What do Italian people speak Italian? What do English people speak English? What do German people speak German? What do Portuguese people speak Portuguese? To me, I just changed my way of looking at stuff. Like because a lot of Haitian people feel like it's wrong if you say, "Oh, you speak Haitian," they be like, "Oh, that's disrespectful." Say I speak Creole because they're not educated enough, or they don't know that Creole just means a white European man born in the Caribbean, and then he came to be a Creole person, which is like an interracial person. But the etymology is a European person born in the Caribbean, like in the French Caribbean. So now they tie it to the language. When does your dialect stop being a dialect and becomes a language? People's been speaking Haitians for like what, 300 years now? So I think it's really disrespectful to your ancestors to say I speak Patois or Creole. That's how I say. But I do think there's probably, of course, there's a influence because, like, for example, there's a word in Haitian, well, quote unquote, people would say Creole, say, like, for example, twins. Like the word in Creole in Haitian is marasa, but for French is jumeau. So where did that word come from? You get what I'm saying? So I don't know. Of course, there's influence. I agree with that, but I'm just saying. I just think we should step away even from the calling. Like Jamaicans should not say they speak patois. Trinidadians should not say they speak. No, say you speak Trinidadian, or I speak Guyanese, or whatever. Stop letting them just try to put your language into a dialect after 300 or 400 years. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, there's a thing. Like we just, well, one time ago I remember Bahamians make a joke that we used to speak Bahamianese. There's these sayings that you'll catch Caribbean folks saying, like there's this saying, you'll hear it up in America, but it was heavy home, like monkey see, monkey do. And it's like, we don't even have monkeys, but it's just this thing that we've kept with us. You know what I mean? We have this saying, play with puppy licking your mouth. And I know Jamaicans have a version of that too. I forget how it goes. And Trinidadians have a version too. You know what I mean? Crapo smoky pipe or something like that. So it's like, and crapo is a type of frog that we have, right? So it's all there. But it's an interesting point you make that we should just say, whatever our nationality is, that's our language that we speak. But we allow other people to kind of give us the go ahead to say that this way of speaking or that way of speaking is a language or not, or a dialect or whatever you want to call it. In the chat, I'm sorry, who was that?
No, I was gonna say because patois to me, I don't care what people say. Calling your language a dialect to me has a degenerate. What's the
Inferiority complex.
Yeah, inferiority complex. So that's why I say, like, when I tell people that, they look at me funny. And I was funny. Quick story. I was talking to somebody the other day. He's a police officer, and he said, well, there was something going on, and somebody, a white officer, said, "Yo, do we have anybody who speaks Haitian?" And she said she was highly offended. And after I spoke to her about it, she said, "Oh, I never looked at it this way." So even don't let people like Patois and Creole should not be used to this. Your ancestors had fought long enough, and we as speaking Caribbean people, liaison to African people, the way we speak is so poetic. Look at the proverbs. So let's stop. Even we can even relate the way people speak Ebonics and everything. So-called label. We gotta own our language, man. We gotta name our own language. Not let them name our freaking language for us, man. That's it.
Yeah, Jagan Molu he put up this book here if you want to learn more about the connections between Haitian Creole or Haitian and Jamaican. You can check out that book. He says the way Jamaicans and Haitians form plurals is the same, etc. Trigger Happy 262 says, I think we have to figure out a bridge with language for the diaspora and the continent, institutionalize all the diaspora languages and add along continental languages or even just Swahili. I'm for that personally. Buano, what say you?
The bridge is already been established. And what I mean by that is, if anyone in their spare time, just look up Burna Boy in Jamaica. He is speaking what people consider to be pidgin English or whatever. He's singing his songs, and listen to the crowd singing. They singing with him. Now, I don't know if they know Nigerian pidgin, you know what I mean, or if they just find his music. But just look up Burna Boy in Jamaica, and then after you finish with that, look up a person like Capleton or Sizzler in Kenya or some part of Africa, speaking in what they people say is patois, singing to primarily African audience who don't know nothing but Jamaican patois, and tell me if there are no cultural connections or Africanisms that run across the board. You could and then after you watch Brother Boy in Jamaica or the Caribbean, and I think he was in Tobago, watch him in a primarily white audience. You would see the distinctive differences. You know what I mean? My brother tonight say, and I laugh at it because he said, "Man, Boan, I don't understand what you said, man." I had to be mindful that when I drink it, I go off into my little rants. So I have to be mindful sometimes that I have to slow it down because the audience I'm speaking to is an American audience. So you have to articulate things in a way. And it's not to say that down south they don't have their Africanisms as well, but you have to articulate words and things in a way to make them clearly understand exactly what you're saying because they would be lost. You know what I mean? And it's not my intention. It's just when I'm comfortable, like we get into certain things, But I do know that there are still Africanisms there. When I hear people from Sierra Leone, when I hear people from Liberia speak, I say, my goodness, the words, it just is. They become clear as day. You know what I mean? There has to be cultural connection and lines it's in there. You see that we have to be family, even the way we articulate the English language, and how we formulate it and bend it, and I guess in Haiti and Martinique and Guadeloupe, if they talk to people from France, it would be very different than how they would speak to someone from Senegal or Cote d'Ivoire, you know what I mean, or the Ivory Coast. It was the same thing, but they would be able to say, well, wait a minute. You sound a little weird and sound a little funny, but I understand you. I understand you because we coming from the same kind of root. And I think that through music, that is shown very, very more clear and distinctive. It's something that is just undeniable. Undeniable. It's just our leaders have not catch wind of that yet. They probably have. Some of them our leaders have, and say, well, listen, since we have an innate cultural connection, let's further it and make it more tangible and concrete. And the artists and the musicians have been pushing these kinds of things for years. And I think that our leaders or people who are in powerful position need to implement things to draw us closer to one another, because it's an undeniable feature among us. No, I know we steeped in our Europeanisms. God forbid, I don't know why we go again to Europe, you know. But it is obviously a distinctive, clear cultural connection with our brothers in West Africa and the brothers in the Caribbean and South America and in the French Caribbean islands, or well in the Caribbean islands that speak French, and also in in the southern parts of North America as well. Clear as day. But I'll leave it there.
Trigger Happy. I two things you said I'll respond to real quick before I go to Oni. I used to date a woman from Sierra Leone, actually, and when she was speaking the language, her native language, it sounded just like someone like my grandmother and them. My grandmother and them from a small island called Eleuthera in the Bahamas, right? It sounded like them. And when I met her mother and spoke, the mother turned to her and said, "Is he from Sierra Leone?" Because it's so similar. Same thing with the Gullah Geechee. If you hear Gullah Geechee speak, you hear Bahamian speak.
Oh man, it's almost make me want to cry. It's almost make me want to cry.
Almost make you cry.
Oh goodness, man.
It will almost make you cry, Dread. Like, I forget the queen of the Gullah Geechee. I forget her name now. I was watching something with her the other day, and I'm like, damn, this lady, she looked like one of my folks, right? And she sounds just like our people, right? So that's the one thing Trigger Happy talked about. Earlier, he talked about continental Africans touring the Caribbean. And I agree with that. And I also want to add the continent, particularly the West Africa, West and Central Africa, should also reach out to our artists, not just the reggae guys, but the calypsonians, right? The soca artists. I'm not saying that they don't, but I don't hear about it as much. They should also allow these guys to earn money doing tours in those countries as well. Listen, let me tell you something. Everyone talks about Trinidad's carnival, right? And Trinidadians who go and get exposed to our thing called Junkanoo always rave about and always ask me, why y'all don't bring that to the States for these Labor Day parades and stuff, right? If you watch Bahamian Junkanoo in Ghana, I think it's Ghana, pretty sure it's Ghana, they have a celebration it's like the damn same thing. It's like the same. It, like Bonner said, I have to agree. It almost want to make you cry. It's like the same shit. So I would like to see that go both ways. Let's get the artists from the continent traveling through there, and then let's get our people over there too. Let those folks over there see, these people called Caribbean and whatnot and Black American, these is our family too. You know what I mean?
One quickly, Oni, I gotta interrupt you. I remember when we was watching a video with Tan, and Tan saw Junkin for the first time, and she was like, "Wow!" Get out of here. So I know the Africans will be very accepting to watch that culture, be a part of that culture, and enmesh that culture as a part of their own kind of form and format. They'll embrace it. Let me put it like that. I think that it's something that we have to offer our people on the other side of the water,
Yeah, so I guess we don't have too much time, but I think one of the problems with this whole premise, well, there's two problems with the premise. One is, it comes from this sort of complex or this kind of ahistorical or this ahistoriosity where it's like, we're asking, hey, are these African people African? And it's like, yes, like yes, that's kind of like the whole thing that the quote unquote Pan-Africanists have been saying.
Don't be a downer now, only. Don't be a downer. But go ahead.
There'll be a Debbie Downer. Okay, but but the other part is that the other aspect to it is that we also have to remember that a lot of the dominant narrative comes from Europeans, right? So when we say something like patois means bad English, right? We're talking about how, if you were a European, the language that we're speaking would be bad English. You know what I mean? Like if you were a white person, the language that you're speaking would be bad English, or and that right there, or like for instance, if you were a European, me dressing up in a chieftain's garb, it looks like an unprofessional outfit, But that's why we have to get away from, orienting ourselves, from the European standpoint, which is something that a lot of us, particularly in the West, would do. But also, but like for me, it's like, yeah, I think that what we see inside of Jamaica, what we see in Haiti, what we see in Bahamas, Barbados, wherever, right? What we see in these islands, particular, and of course the Gullah Geechee as well. But what we see is an African population that was captured from another country, and forced to learn English or Portuguese or Spanish, and that population kept some remnants of their older language, But for me, it's like that shouldn't be shocking. That like the only reason why people are, I feel like the only reason why people are surprised that they kept something, that they retained something, is because, particularly in the African American circles, you might have seen like a much bigger erosion of the cultural framework. And so if you were to look at it from the lens of, oh, these people had everything erased, so that's how it was all over the world, it's like, well, that wasn't how it was all over the world.
But only, let me just interject real quick with this question. Because the reason why I say don't be a downer is because I sense that you're going to make it kind of unremarkable. But I think I think you have to see it as a little bit remarkable, considering we're not all from the same island. But yet there's all this retention and all this all this similarity across, the distance between Nassau and Trinidad. But to have that similarity, that development, for that development to occur where we're almost like the same, the distance between the Gullahs and us and Barbados or what have you. But to have that to me, there's something a little bit remarkable in that.
Well, let me just say this, because I know we are brief on time, right? I think it's only remarkable when you're in America, but it's like the exception it's like the rules don't make the exception. So the reason why I would say it's not remarkable is that if we were to orient ourselves in the Caribbean and we said, hey, all these Caribbean people sound alike, then it's not really remarkable, because that's what it is. The only reason why it's remarkable is because, quote unquote, African Americans would not sound like the Caribbeans, but if all of the Caribbean, because essentially the African Americans are also a Caribbean people in a sense, obviously not the same location, but we're all the same sort of people, so we all should have had the same results. And the reality is that we all did have the same results, except for the African Americans. So, and that's not all African Americans, because the Gullah Geechee and all those other people also have that sort of cultural retention. So the fact that we have cultural retention seems to be the norm, and so it's not really exceptional. It's just the normal. What's exceptional is when you do not retain your cultural framework. That's what's exceptional.
No, I push back again. What I'm saying is we weren't under the exact same conditions. We were in different geographic locations, etc. And so I think it's interesting that we still have that strong connection, considering we were in these different spaces. But anyway, I'll go to Tanzan for time's sake. Tan, what say you to all of it?
Well, Buena reminded me of the first time I was on, maybe the earlier times when I was on Shoot the Breeze. And I asked you all if you could interchangeably understand each other's languages, because the rest of us really could not. I cannot understand, Caribbeans or Jamaicans in general when they go into their, dialect or whatever they're speaking. And then another thing is that when you hear British, maybe Australian to some extent, but especially British Black people, they do not have a distinctive, Black British sound to them. I I I realize that, when you're hearing American Black speak, there's something distinctive about them. The same thing with Caribbean. Well, there's white Caribbeans, but for the most part, you can tell that there's something, African or Black or sing-songy about it. But Black Brits are the most assimilated linguistically to their culture. They speak just like they speak regionally. If you're from, London, if you're from the Cockney place, and so on and so forth. But it's interesting that Black Americans, even though there's a small minority, you can still tell that Black American accent. Well, when it comes to, the whether there's Africanisms in Patois, I think not. Some words for sure. Words like zombie, was samba, and a lot of the music as well. And that's why I included the book Well of Souls by Christina Arbridi. She goes into, the history of the banjo, and this was a very illuminating read, because I thought that the banjo was like a white redneck thing, but she actually traces it all the way from, from Africa to Jamaica, the Caribbean, all these different places, all the way to America, and so on. So it's just interesting that even when people lose a lot, they still maintain the sounds, in terms of language and music. So it is remarkable only because of the effort, the great effort that was taken to stamp out that whole connection, that whole identity. That's why I said Oni is going to roll his eyes. But even it's not only Ezuli, I thought she was just going to roll his eyes. I said no, there's no. But yeah, everyone recognizes it. It's not just when you're in America. When you see some of the when we see, especially Haitian people, well, nowadays, I don't know, they might have changed, but Haitian people, they're the most African looking people in the world. They look more African than some Africans look African.
No. True.
I'm not trying to cap on you, Azuli. I'm not even talking about you.
Yeah, but no one is dressed like Haitians, so no one is dressed like that.
Yo, shut up, Buana, shut up.
Yeah, man, Africans, they're sleeping on Haitians, because Haitians are like but I hate to say this, but they're like the Somalis of Africa. They have a reputation, like they don't take any uh, nonsense laying down. Anyway, so what I'm saying is this: the remarkable thing is that for all that distance, all that space, all that um, conflict, and just general misery, they still wanted to preserve some of that, their links to their old world. And so, yeah, I don't know how much patois there is. I think that in terms of language, I think no, not language. Language is not going to heal the West Africans and their descendants. I think that the language that is the peaceful language, the neutral language, should be Kiswahili, because Kiswahili is a language of, yes, I know all the arguments against it, but Kiswahili is a neutral language. It doesn't benefit one person or another. They're not a big tribe. They're not a very political tribe, and people can get behind it. The West Africans, if you look to West Africa for a unified language, you'll be there for decades just trying to sort it out. So I think that West Africans, Caribbeans, and Black Americans should sit down on in a conference and say it's not a Pan-African conference, it's going to be a West Pan-African conference where they need to iron out all their grievances, historical and present, talk about, slavery and, and all those things, and get to an understanding, and then, seek to find a common language with. They're not going to do amongst themselves because they're always so contentious, but look into Kiswahili. Kiswahili, might bring you all together. Just saying. And I'll conclude with that.
All right. That's the
Haitian. And let me add one thing before I go.
Can I add something real quick after Buana?
Yes, the Haitians are the only group of black people that established a black monarchy in the Western world. They had literal kings and queens of Haiti. That is unprecedented. You know what I mean? So I like I said, I gotta give it up to them. People like to talk about these other islands, but they was thinking on another level back in the day. And I think that thing needs to be revisited. But I'll stop to be brief.
So, Coco, before you said something that was very important, like about connecting musically. I remember one of the guys from Jamaica. I forgot his name, man. He was hot for a while. What's his name? He was in jail for statutory rape or something like that. What's his name?
Oh, Jacques.
So Jacques made a song, and in my mind, Jacques made a song, and he made it with a Spanish woman to speak Spanish. I understand the move; it's a money maker, but we got to get past that. Jacques could have went and got a Haitian singer to bring the people together. Jacques could have went to Barbados or to Guadeloupe to bridge the French Caribbean with the English Caribbean, but he went and had a Spanish woman speak Spanish on it. So it's just the same thing you said. A lot of the African artists, they're not gonna reach out to French Caribbean people on the mainstream level. They're gonna reach out to what makes money. We gotta go beyond to what makes money and go to what brings us together. That's a tall task, but it is what it is. But I got that proverb I was talking about that the Jamaicans have together. So the Jamaicans said, "Rock stone, I river bottom, never see sun hot," right? Haitian people said, "Wash not low, pas con misère, wash not soleil." So the Haitian saying, rocks in the water don't know the trials and tribulation of the rocks in the sun. So I'm guessing the rock stone at river bottom never see sun hot it means the same thing. So we all connect in the Caribbean the way we speak and with our proverbs. So I bet you there's something in the Bahamas that probably says the same thing. Do you get what I'm saying? So we are. That's what I'm saying. You let's give our ancestors up. I think we should stop saying we speak Patois and Creole and all that shit. Say we speak Haitian, speak Bahamian, or we speak Jamaican. That's all I would say. But great convo for great topics today, man. As usual.
Appreciate you being here. Buana, you remember hearing Bahamianese?
Yeah, I had a term before.
Just making sure I ain't too old now. But yeah, man, great show tonight. Besides the chat distractions and whatnot, still a great show. I appreciate all the topics. I got to thank guys like Oni for topics, Tanzan, Zuli, Buana. Got to thank Carl Hezekiah, who was on with us earlier. Got to thank Brother Bakari for hopping on earlier tonight. Marcus Garvey is the way. Everyone who was in the chat, Trigger Happy 262, still with us out there now. Jagun Molu, I have to thank you as well for coming through. Shout out to guys like Bobby Wright and Nama X and Sister Raw and Matron and folks like who I haven't seen around these parts in a while now. So shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to everyone involved. That's the show for tonight. We'll be back again next Saturday for Shoot the Breeze. I think I'm going to be on Tuesday interviewing a sister from a African-centered homeschool from the homeschool university that I talked about a week or two ago. So I think I'm doing that on Tuesday. So look out for the notification. Come through and participate in the chat. All right. Check out all the other shows. Oni, you want to shout anything out?
Oh no! Oh yeah! Well, I did release an app, so that's pretty cool. Released an app on the App Store. I might release a few more.
What's the name of the app?
Time. I think it's like Learn Swahili in 15 minutes a day or something like that. But huh?
I said you think you released the app. What's the name of the app?
I think that's what it is. But like yeah, I mean I was gonna make a podcast about it, but I know folks is hating.
Do you think?
Yeah. But outside of that, yeah, I'm just gonna do the podcast tomorrow and all that kind of stuff. You already know.
Appreciate it. Tanzan, you want to shout anything out this week?
Oh, I always shout out Shoot the Breeze and all the other shows on KWAZ, I know. And yeah, we might have a program this Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. But it's been a wonderful program tonight. Thank you for having me, and have a good night, everyone. Go ahead.
All right. Urzuli, you want to shout anything out? Or did I ask Urzuli that already?
No, I already said it before. Great show. And yeah, one more thing, if your skin is thin, get off the chat and focus on the show. Shit.
I hear that. Buana, what do you want to shout out this week?
No, shout out to my brother Oni, for actually completing his task of creating his app. I don't know how much he's selling it for on Google or whatever thing he's selling it for, but shout out to that brother. Congratulations. He coming in this direction at all. I know that probably that was a very difficult task for you to do. So shout out to you for completing your task and putting it out there in the marketplace. And shout out to all the brothers and sisters on the panel who would have contributed tonight, man. Very great show. All right, good night.
All right, good night to everyone out there in the chat. Make sure to hit the like button, share the show, check out the clips, the Shoot the Breeze Clips channel where I clip up all this stuff. You can listen to it again, share it with people, get their opinions as well. Yeah, that's it. As the Pro Black Perspective says in the chat, great show. I'll leave it at that. I'll see you guys next week on all the other programs during the week as well. You guys be good. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.